Dr. Night Echoes.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I bring you a chilling collection of paranormal encounters. Stories born in absolute silence when the house was asleep and something unseen was not. We were getting ready for dinner at my aunt's place. It was just the four of us that night. My aunt, my brother, my little nephew, and me. We sat down at the table. My aunt and I had our backs to the hallway. My brother and my nephew were facing it. Plates were passed. Normal questions. Everything felt ordinary. Then my nephew stopped eating. He was 4, maybe 5. He stared past us toward the hallway.
His eyes widened, not in fear, just surprise. My aunt noticed and asked him what he was looking at. He pointed toward the hallway entrance and said, "Isn't he eating too?" The room went quiet. My brother and I turned at the same time, even though we already knew. The hallway was empty, light on the wall, an open doorway leading into the dark part of the house. My aunt asked, "Who? Jack?" "That man," he said. "Right there." He pointed again. Same spot. There was no one there. No footsteps, no doors. Just my nephew staring at a place we couldn't see. I tried to laugh it off, blaming his imagination, but my voice sounded wrong. My aunt had gone pale. My brother wouldn't stop looking down the hallway. After a few seconds, my nephew shrugged and went back to eating, like nothing had happened, like the man had left or never mattered. The rest of the meal stayed quiet. We talked about normal things, but everyone kept glancing past us toward the empty doorway. We never brought it up to him again, but I still think about the way he said, "That man," like whoever he saw had been standing there the whole time, waiting to be noticed. I was 11 years old when it happened, and I remember it clearly because the fear came out of nowhere. My parents were getting ready to take us out for ice cream. I could hear them downstairs, talking, keys clinking, the front door opening and closing as they checked the weather. Everything felt normal. I ran upstairs to grab my jacket from my bedroom. The second I stepped inside, something shifted. Nothing looked different. The room was the same, but this heavy, sudden fear slammed into me so hard I froze in the doorway. It felt like I had stepped into the wrong place at the wrong moment. I didn't look around.
I didn't think. I just turned and ran. As soon as I did, I heard footsteps behind me. Fast, heavy, too close. They weren't echoing down the hall. They were right behind me, matching my pace perfectly. I remember thinking I wasn't going to make it to the stairs. My heart was pounding so hard it hurt. I could feel something right there, almost brushing my back. I didn't scream. I don't know why. I just ran. When I reached the top of the stairs, I spun around without slowing down, and something rushed straight through me. Not past me, through me, like a body cutting through air, except it passed inside my chest and head. For a split second, my vision warped. Everything blurred, like opening your eyes underwater. Then it stopped. The hallway was empty. No footsteps, no movement, no sound. Just my bedroom door behind me and the stairs in front of me. My parents called up asking what was taking so long. I grabbed my jacket and went downstairs, trying to act normal while my hands shook. I never told them. Even now, I don't talk about it much. It sounds made up, but I know what I felt. And to this day, I still
avoid running upstairs when I'm alone. I was riding the bus one afternoon, heading home like I always did. It wasn't crowded. In fact, it was just me and the bus driver. I sat near the front, behind her seat, staring out the window, half zoned out. Then I heard a voice. "Can I ask you a question?" It came from directly behind me. Clear, calm, close enough that my shoulders tensed before I even turned around. I spun in my seat, already about to apologize for not paying attention, but there was no one there. Every seat behind me was empty. I stared longer than I meant to, waiting for someone to stand up or laugh. Nothing happened. I leaned forward and asked the bus driver if she had said something, trying to laugh it off so I wouldn't sound stupid. She didn't laugh. She went quiet for a second and said she heard it too. She said it sounded like it came from right behind my seat. After that, neither of us spoke. The rest of the ride felt wrong. The bus seemed louder, but the space behind me felt heavy, like something was filling it. I didn't turn around again. When my stop came, I got off quickly and didn't look back. I stood there watching the bus pull away, still expecting to see someone in the window. I've taken buses since then, plenty of times. I just don't sit near the front anymore. I still don't know who wanted to ask me that question, and I'm relieved I never waited to hear it. When we were kids, me and my sister shared a room with bunk beds. I had the top bunk. She slept on the bottom. At night, we usually fell asleep with the TV on low, just for background noise. One morning, I woke up really early. The sun was barely coming through the blinds, and the TV was still on with some random show playing. My sister was still asleep below me. I was lying on my stomach facing the TV. From where I was, I could see the screen and part of the floor next to her bed. I remember blinking a few times, still half asleep, when I saw someone standing in front of the TV, not blocking it completely, just at the side. The shape was turned toward my sister, like they were watching her. I could see the outline of a head and shoulders. They were close enough that if they leaned forward, they could have touched her. I thought it was my mom at first, but something felt wrong. My mom always turned the TV off when she came in. She always said we needed to sleep in the dark. The TV was still on. The person wasn't moving. They were just staring down. I leaned over the side of the bed to see who it was. My heart was pounding, but I was more confused than scared. When I looked down, there was no one there, just my sister, asleep on her back, and the empty floor. I pulled back up slowly and stared at the spot where I had seen them. Nothing. The air felt heavy, like the room had changed and then snapped back to normal. I didn't wake my sister. I just lay there, listening to the TV and pretending I hadn't seen anything. Later, when we were older, she told me she never liked sleeping in that room. She said she felt like someone stood next to her bed sometimes, right at her side, watching her breathe. I didn't tell her what I saw that morning. I didn't want to confirm it. I was playing Dead Space late at night with the lights off and my headphones on. The room was small, and the glow from the TV was the only light. My brain was focused on the screen and nothing else. In the middle of a tense part, I heard a light tap on my window. Just one. Quick. I paused the game and looked over. The blinds were closed. I couldn't see anything outside. For a second, I thought about getting up, but then I told myself it was just a branch or the house settling. I went back to the game. About 10 seconds later, the tapping came back, but this time it wasn't a tap. It was a series of knocks, hard
and fast, like someone drumming their fingers with way too much force. It went on for a few seconds, then stopped all at once. My whole body locked up. I dropped the controller without even realizing it. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it over everything. I didn't go to the window. I didn't even stand up. I slid off the couch and ended up on the floor, pressed against it like that would do anything. I started crawling, trying to stay out of sight of the window, even though I knew whoever was there had already seen the light. I moved through the house that way, low, slow, listening. There were no more knocks, no footsteps outside, no car driving off, nothing. Just the low hum of the fridge and the game still paused in the other room. Eventually, I turned every light on and checked outside. The yard was empty. The street was empty. No trees close enough to hit the glass. No marks on the window. I still don't know what hit it that night. I just know it waited until I was already scared, and then it wanted me to hear it.
It happened while I was at my best friend's house one afternoon. We were alone, just hanging out, talking about nothing important. Her parents were out. I remember sitting on the couch when I suddenly heard my phone ringing. The sound was coming from the hallway. I knew exactly where my phone was. I had taken it off earlier and shoved it into the pocket of my jacket, which I'd left hanging on a chair near the bedrooms. I jumped up and ran for it. By the time I reached the jacket, the ringing stopped. I stood there breathing hard, annoyed at myself for panicking over nothing. Then, almost immediately, the phone started ringing again. I pulled it out and answered without looking at the screen. I said hello. No one replied. I listened for breathing, background noise, anything. Nothing. Just silence. I looked at the screen to see the number. I didn't recognize it. I walked back into the living room and showed it to my friend. She asked me where the call came from. I read the number out loud. She told me that was her house phone number. I laughed and told her to stop messing with me. She wasn't smiling. She walked into the next room, picked up the house phone, and told me to call the number back. My phone rang in my hand as her house phone started ringing on the table next to her. We stood there, staring at each other. Neither of us spoke. I hung up and turned my phone off completely. We didn't stay in that house much longer after that. I still have no explanation for how my phone rang from a line that never left the house. I've checked records. I've tried to logic it away. Nothing fits. And even now, whenever my phone rings and I don't recognize the number, I hesitate before answering. It happened when I was really young, around 3rd or 4th grade, right after my family moved into a new house. We had a cat named Rex. He hated strangers, but he loved us. He always slept right on my chest or near my face. That night, he was curled up against me like usual. The room was dark except for a small nightlight on my dresser. I woke up to a sound I had never heard before. Rex was growling, deep and low. His body was stiff, his lips pulled back, teeth showing. He was staring at the wall beside my bed. I was still half asleep and confused. I didn't feel scared yet. I just rolled over to see what he was looking at. That's when Rex launched himself off the bed and ran out of the room as fast as he could. I finally focused on the space beside my bed. There was something there, a dark shape sitting low to the floor, close enough that it could have touched me. The nightlight lit up everything around it, but the shape itself stayed dark. I could make out the outline of curly hair because of the way the light bent around it. It wasn't moving. It was just watching me. I didn't scream. I didn't move. I felt certain that if I did, something bad would happen. I closed my eyes
and stayed as still as I could until exhaustion took over. In the morning, Rex wouldn't come near my room.
Even now, I still sleep with a light on, and I still think about how long it had been sitting there before I woke up. I was alone in the living room late at night, sitting close to a dying fire and reading the Amityville Horror. It was one of the first times I had read it, back when everyone was still arguing about whether it was real. The pig with glowing red eyes stuck with me more than I wanted to admit. I didn't really believe the story, but the house was quiet and the fire was low, and I felt uneasy anyway. When I finished the book, I shut it and dropped it onto the vinyl footstool in front of me. The sound it made was loud and flat. At the exact moment it hit, the lights went out. Not a flicker. Everything went black at once. My stomach dropped. Across the room, I saw 2 red points of light. They were high off the ground, at least 5 feet up. They were steady and bright. Too bright. They didn't blink or shift. They just stayed there, facing me. I froze. I couldn't move my arms or legs. I couldn't even breathe right. My heart felt like it stopped and forgot how to start again. I remember thinking this was it, that I had brought something on myself by reading that book in the dark. I stared straight ahead, locked on those eyes, afraid that if I looked away they would move closer. The house was completely silent. The fire barely crackled. The red eyes didn't move at all. Seconds felt stretched thin, like they were being pulled apart. Then the power came back on. It couldn't have been more than a few seconds, but it felt much longer. The room filled with light, and the red eyes vanished instantly. In their place was the family cat, sitting on the back of a chair across from me. She was facing the fire, her eyes reflecting the last glowing embers. I stayed frozen for another few seconds, just staring at her. My breathing came back all at once, sharp and uneven. My hands were shaking. I laughed quietly, but it didn't feel real. I knew what I saw made sense now, but the timing didn't sit right with me. The way the power cut out, the way the eyes were already there. I never finished the book in that house, and even now, whenever a room goes dark too suddenly, I still look for red eyes before I move. I was studying late at the campus library on a cold winter evening. It was almost empty. When I finally packed up, I stopped by the men's restroom before heading out. The lights inside were bright. As soon as I walked in, I saw a woman standing near the sinks. Her back was to me. Her shoulders were shaking. She was crying. I hesitated, then asked if she was okay. I asked if she needed help. She turned slowly and looked at me like I had said something offensive. Not angry, just flat, like I shouldn't be there. Then she was gone. She didn't walk past me. There were no footsteps, no door sounds. One moment she was in front of me, and the next the room was empty. The bathroom wasn't large. I could see the stalls. I could see the mirrors. There was nowhere she could have gone. I backed out of that bathroom and walked fast, then faster, then ran once I hit the main hall. That campus has plenty of ghost stories. People joke about them during daylight. I've heard a lot since. No one has ever described what I saw, and the look she gave me still feels personal, like I walked into something I wasn't supposed to see.